Okay, with Ms. Landsman. Ms. Landsman, the floor is yours. 6 minutes, please.
Thanks, Minister, for joining in, and to your officials as well. Look, I'm just going to read a quote back to you that brought you to this committee. Our government has made the decision to stop investing in road infrastructure. You said you didn't say it. You clearly said it. You said you didn't mean it. So what is it that you meant by our government has made the decision to stop investing in new roads if you didn't mean that our government has made the decision to stop investing in new roads?
Merci pour la question. En fait, ce que j'ai déjà dit à plusieurs...
Thank you for the question. In fact, what I've said several times, and I will repeat it here for the committee, I should have specified that these comments were made in the context of the third link in Quebec City, a project that the government of Quebec sometimes promoted, sometimes didn't. And this link would connect Quebec City and the South Shore of Quebec.
The bus on that. So I'll read the second thing that you said. The analysis that we have done is that the network is perfectly adequate to respond to the needs we have. Now, I don't have to tell you that it takes 29 minutes to drive 10 kilometers in Toronto. It takes 19 minutes in your city of Montreal. And, of course, not everybody lives next to a subway. So what's the analysis that we have done? Can you state a specific analysis?
Comme je l'ai dit, et je vais le répéter, je faisais spécifiquement référence.
As I was saying, I was specifically referring to the third link.
Did you share that with the Minister of Transport? Because he earlier threw you under the bus and said that he hadn't seen an analysis. So is that something that you're willing to share with him or maybe table at this committee?
Je pense que ça s'est perdu un peu dans la...
I think things got lost in the translation. I was saying that there are analyses that have shown, countless analyses in Quebec, that the third link is not needed, the link between the Quebec City South Shore and Quebec City.
We have done, you're talking about an analysis that was done. Which analysis?
Ouais, ça me ferait plaisir de communiquer au...
I'd be delighted to communicate the studies. The studies have been made public.
At all?
Comme je l'ai dit, ce sont...
As I've said, these are public studies concerning the fact that a third link is not necessary in the Quebec City area.
Policy and the analysis that you didn't do, that's why you're here. So in Toronto, again, I'm going to state this, it takes 29 minutes. It's the third slowest in the world in terms of traffic patterns. In Vancouver, it's 23 minutes to get to drive 10 kilometers. In Winnipeg, 19 minutes. And in Montreal, I have a whole list. Cities around the country, big and small, and all of them have one thing in common. There's traffic congestions, and we need roads. And those are just for folks that live in the cities. And I suspect that you know that you can't use a bike lane in places like in most rural ridings, and you certainly can't walk to work or walk to drive your kids to hockey, in frankly, any case. What do you mean when the network is perfectly adequate to respond to the needs we have? It's blatantly untrue. This is not even an analysis. It's just facts.
Comme je l'ai dit,
As I said, I was specifically referring to the third link project that links Quebec City and its South Shore. I wasn't speaking of Toronto, Montreal, or Winnipeg or Vancouver. As I said in my introduction, I listed the $1.6 billion invested to maintain, expand the road network for various segments of the highway for which our Parks Canada has responsibility. These are major sums to maintain and improve the road network in various parts of the country.
We're not getting anywhere because you're not taking responsibility for the policy that you've announced on behalf of the Government of Canada, and it's very clear that maybe you don't have a role in making it. I'm going to go to...
Je prends la responsabilité d'avoir...
I have the responsibility in that I was not specific enough in the statement that I made. I've admitted that several times, and I've made it here today before the committee.
Ask you you've clearly walked back your comments, just like you've walked back many of the policies that you've had to put forward, or frankly, the Prime Minister walked them back for you. But on that, most Canadians believe that, most Canadians are against a carbon tax increase, even more so against the April 1st carbon tax increase. And in the case that the Prime Minister doesn't make a carve-out against your own signature policy and your raison d'etre here, is there any case And you do a lot of analysis, you do a lot of polling, so you must be seeing exactly what the public polls are seeing. 70% of Canadians against it, 70% of premiers have now come out against it. Different party leaders, different legislators have all come against your April 1st 23% tax
Point
increase.
of order, Mr.
Is there
Chair.
anything that you would do to change
of order.
your approach,
Excuse
you
me.
personally?
Sorry, we have a point of order, Ms. Lansman. I've stopped your time. Ms. Kouchakis.
Several of us have pointed out on this, even with earlier witnesses that have been here today. Relevance. We're here to discuss the comments that Minister Guilbeault made several months ago, and he's here before this committee to clarify what he meant. And I don't see the relevance of where my honourable colleague is going with this line of questioning.
Thank you, Ms. Kouchakis. Ms. Lansman, you weren't here for the previous ministers that had
I
appeared,
watched.
but we did have a
Minister,
lot of
the
questions.
gas.
If we could just stay focused on the
Yes,
reason for
Minister,
which
the
the
gas
minister's here.
tax is levied, and of course, all Canadians pay into a carbon tax at the pumps. That's going to be 23% more. So, if you don't understand how the carbon tax affects road infrastructure, I can't help you. But I have a question for you: is there anything that you would do to walk back? You personally, would you walk back, in any case, the 23% carbon tax increase in April?
Mais d'abord, je tiens à préciser que la
I'd like to specify that the Supreme Court of Canada has stated that it is not a tax because these revenues do not come back to the Canadian government, and 100% of the money goes back to Canadians in some form or another. To speak of the April 1st increase, your leader always mentions it without mentioning that the rebates are also increasing. You'll note that by province, people receive more than they pay.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Minister.